Hi, welcome to another episode of Get Wealthy with me. I'm Sharon Parmeshwar, the Modern Savvy CPA. You might notice that we are not in our studio. Well, our AC in our studio has gone down. I don't know what my landlord is doing, but we're hoping to be back in the studio very soon. So we are right now filming in another location. So you're going to see my dog running around. And if you do that, he's just part of the scenery. Today, I have a very special guest. This is Sean. He's one of the Gen Zs that I meet along when I'm just hanging out in my neighborhood. And he is actually from China originally. He was born in China. So I'm probably not going to ask him any questions about what he thinks about the tariffs on China today, but that might be a good question to ask because the day that we're filming is when the stock market went down 200 points after plummeting, I think, 1,500 points in the Dow yesterday. And, I have to talk about that because I'm all finance head here. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you for having me.
So you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself? Like, we just talked about you coming from an immigrant family, but I want to hear a little bit about how old were you when you came? What did you do here? And where you went to college? How about that?
Sure. Yeah, I came here 12 years ago, actually in June. 100% made in China. I can speak and write in Chinese fluently. So if anybody needs a translator, please hit me up. I went to FSU with Josh, one of your previous guests. It's one of my best friends. I studied hospitality in school. After graduated, I worked at Wellington International, which also known as WEF, where the horse show is. After that, I found a new job and now working in medical field. I do medical equipment sales for eye doctors. So anything inside the eye doctor's office, we sell them, we service them. At the same time, I still work at WEF on the weekend during season. So that's what I
He
do.
can't help it. Maybe he's in love with the horses. Or he's in just want to be abused by the horse people, the horse show. No offense, horse show. So tell us a little bit about your school experience. How was that at you at what was it, FSU, right?
FSU, yeah, go Nose. I gotta be honest, this is probably one of the best experience I ever had. If I can go back to another 4 years, I would drop everything and go back and do another 4 years.
FSU is known to be the party school. So was that the experience that you
No,
had?
I think FSU is known for work hard, party hard. I also learned about time management. That's very important.
Yeah, definitely.
I got to balance everything out from school to partying to social life and meet friends and everything else. So I've learned a lot throughout the 4 years. And again, if I can go back, I'll do 4 years all over again.
So asking you a question on that. So my immigrant family is very focused on education. So going away to college is not necessarily something that they focus on. Their focus is education. So that's and Asian families are very focused on education. So what are the thoughts of your family like? In terms of education, in terms of how you did your education, going away to college, how did they feel about that?
Well, when I got into FSU, we're ranked top 20 public university. So my mom was very thrilled about it.
Yeah.
But she also didn't know that FSU is a big party school. So I kind of dodged a bullet on that. When I got there, again, like you said, immigrant, especially Asian people, were really big on school. So I graduated with really good grades. I never slacked on school, which is a 3.7.
Yeah, which is important, right? Like
very important.
Your parents didn't want to know how much you partied, what you were doing. They probably didn't even care what you did. They just want to know what your grades are.
Yes. Yes.
They're like, Sean, did you get an B? Did you get an A? Of course, A, if you don't get an A, that's like I was telling my son when he was having issues getting into UCF, and he was like, Mom, but I did this, I have this grade, I have that grade, and so. I said, well, in the Asian pot, you are on the bottom of the totem pole, even if you are.
Yes.
So even if you have good grades, we focus so much on education that the GPA is kind of 90%. Would you say that?
Yes, absolutely. I did manage to get Dean's List every single semester. So that's one
So that
reason
made them
why
happy, right?
my parents didn't get on my case about it.
Yeah, that's it. But we before we started filming, we talked a lot about being well-rounded, building your
Yep.
network, and there's a saying that goes around. I don't know if I necessarily believe in it 100%, that your network is your net worth.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about that, about you building your network and building your network, and how important that is in today's society when it comes to what you're doing, not what you're doing in society, and how it makes a difference, because Asian families believes in the education, believes in serious about your work ethics. We're about your, most of our people, they tend to stay at the job. They're very committed.
Yeah.
Whereas they take what they get and they don't get upset, kind of.
Yeah.
But us that are, either came here when we were young. I was 9 when I came here.
Yeah.
And grew up in America. I would say we grew up in America.
Yeah.
Right. We understand the value of networking,
Yeah.
the value of meeting people, the value of being well-rounded. What would you say in your 25 years of living? Can I say you're 25?
Yeah, I am 25. So I'm a firm believer that it's all about who you know. All the jobs I got so far, besides my first job at Wendy's, all my job I got so far is through somebody that I knew.
Right.
And I think it's very important to create a network, because you never know who you're going to run into. Maybe you're looking for other opportunity, but if you don't put yourself out there, you will always miss the opportunity.
Absolutely. So what do you say, like, even within school, when you were at college, and you even partying with some of the people that you partied with, it was a way to build your network?
Yes, I think I got lucky enough that I met Josh and we joined the same fraternity. I know a lot of people saying, fraternity and sorority is all about partying, all this stuff. It's part of it. But I think the more important part is that you meet all those people from different industry, different backgrounds, their parents working different industry, different backgrounds. After graduation, I think it's easy, you get more access to more opportunity. You get access to more people. And if you want to switch to a different industry, there's always somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Right. So do you think that our parents grew up like that? Do you think that that's the way?
Absolutely not. I don't think so. Absolutely not.
So what would you say? How is it different? What did we learn about doing that, or being with that? For me, I'll tell you mine, and then you can tell me what yours. For me, I learned that technology, that having that, right, is important to. And I have a different saying from you. It's not who you know, is who knows you. Okay, so that's my goal, is who know me, not who I know. That's what makes the difference. But I am trying to teach my boys that you have to be a well-rounded person. You have to go out there, you have to meet people, you have to be in a community. Collaboration is the key. Collaboration is the key to understand the commitment, that competition is okay. It's not an adverse thing. So whereas our parents, I kind of think they limited themselves by not broadening their network.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think society is so different now. Like back in the day, people was like, oh, stay in the same company, you move your way up, you get a raise after a certain amount of time. I don't think that necessarily work into today's society. I think people have so many opportunity now. Like if you don't like something, go on, try something else.
Do you think that's your generation, or?
I think so. I think it's more of my generation that, if we don't like something, we'll go try something else, because there's so many opportunity out there and so much to do and so many more ways to make money now, that I think we just have more access to everything else, especially with AI, technology, social media. I mean, you name it, there's just so many ways out there to make money. So
Do you think that what are your thoughts on not just making money, like you're going out there, you want to be happy in what you're doing, right? You want to enjoy, and part of quote unquote partying in school, being a part of a fraternity or a sorority, I think it teaches you how to be with other people, how to collaborate with other people. And almost like now I have been networking a lot, and everything that I go to networking is a party.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, we're networking while we're partying.
Right. You can
So
have fun sometimes.
yeah. So it's do you think, like, as opposed to what you, how does your parents feel about like that type of stuff? They understand what you're going through, or your generation, or
Yeah, they understand. I think I'm lucky enough to have my parents who's always supportive with everything that I do. And they think I'm mature enough that there's always a purpose behind what I do.
right. So they
So,
understand and trust that.
yeah.
Which so they understand that it's not like how it was for them.
No, absolutely not.
So I also believe that, like, I'm a firm believer in, because I am like first generation American here. My kids and my nieces and nephews and my cousins' kids, all of them, you know, they try to talk with me when they're changing jobs. Like, if, for example, I have a niece that's a PA, and the first job she got offered, her parents like, why aren't you taking that? Yada yada yada, whatever. And she's like, no, that's not what I want to do. I think this guy wants to pay me too low. I know what salaries.com said, so I'm gonna go out and look at that. So I mean, I think you guys have a point.
Yes. Yes, we do. We do have more opportunity and more access to everything now. So,
And I kind of think you guys are brave.
yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that.
So, I mean, one of the things that you told me about is your interest in finance. I don't know if that's something that you might want to do in the future, but of course, if anyone tells me that they're interested in finance, my ear perks up, because in accounting and finance we have a major pipeline issue. I mean, I think in the job markets themselves we have major pipeline issue because the baby boomers are retiring, and one of the reasons that today the stock market went down 200 points, but the unemployment rate was better than expected.
Yes.
So for me, I think the reason is because we have less people to take jobs that are out there, and then we also have a job mismatch issue where there are jobs available, but we don't have people qualified to do it. So are those reasons? Do you see that with your friends? Do you see that with your fraternity brothers? What do you see with your generation in terms of the different jobs that your friends are in after they're graduating? What do you notice that's happening with your generation?
I think I'm lucky enough. All my friends are ambitious. They're doing whatever they need to do. And most of my friends are in finance.
Mhm.
So maybe that's one reason why I'm interested in finance. I think one of the biggest issues is when we're in college, we didn't really learn a lot about finance, especially when it comes to personal finance. So, if I would love for you to touch on that, like what a retirement account is, how this credit works, what are the different type of retirement account, how to invest, what to invest on a podcast.
So do you feel that in school, is it that you didn't learn about personal finance, or it wasn't available to you guys? Was it not important? Like, what is it that was happening with your education that you feel that maybe was missing?
I think they just didn't touch up on it enough. So people, whenever I talk to people, they're kind of like, oh, well, I invest money. Well, what are you investing? Just regular stock, or if I ask my friends, hey, what are the different type of retirement account? They can't even say it because nobody ever learned in school unless maybe in a finance major or accounting major. Anybody else, they didn't really have access to those.
So within accounting and finance, we do learn a lot of finance stuff, but you have to go beyond the books, right?
Yes.
So a lot of the experiences that I've had with money, because I live in a world where we do have a wide array of people with the background in finance, but they don't have intentional money habits.
Right.
So one of the things that is universal is understanding your motivation, your mindset, and then the mechanics. So I think all three of those are missing. So motivation means what is it that you're working towards? Work smarter, not harder,
Right.
or work harder until you can work smarter, kind of thing. Then the mindset is we need to understand where your mindset from money comes from, right? So both you and I have an immigrant mentality mindset that we grew up with. And we learned certain things at home. And a lot of the times, for me, what I learned about immigrants that especially that actually came from another country,
Right.
like our parents, is they believe in the deprivation mindset. So it's like they're gonna save up like a squirrel, put everything away. They might not want to go on a vacation, or they're not going to go on a vacation because they're afraid that that money could be used for something else.
Right.
Or and they save. They're good savers.
Yes.
Immigrants are
Yes,
excellent
they are.
savers.
Yes, they are.
They buy homes. Like they know how to invest in real estate, right?
Right.
So they'll buy one of the things they're always wanting to buy a home, and they know about real estate because land is a universal language.
Yeah.
So no matter where you are, in China, in Guyana, in India, in Europe, in America, land is universal. That's the topic that everybody knows. You buy land, you can't go wrong.
Right.
Right. But they don't understand financial markets. So although they're going to be saving, so let's say they're saving, they want to save up $10,000, they're going to put that away, like whether it's under the mattress or like
Yeah.
in a corner somewhere. They're not going to invest it and have it grow.
Right.
So I think that our money mindset comes from that. We're good savers,
Yes,
right?
we are.
Because we learned that from our parents. We learned about being good savers, but that doesn't necessarily mean we know how to be intentional about our money.
No.
We don't know how to. Your parents never said to you, Sean, if you have this $100 and you're saving it, put it in a Roth IRA and invest it in the S&P 500.
Yep.
You're young. You can let that money grow, because despite the last 3 days and what has happened to the market, I'm going to take that out.
I know.
The S&P 500 in the last 10 years, 15 years has been growing at 9.5%. The market goes up and down,
Right.
but 9.5%, you're an investor, you're not a trader.
Yeah.
So, but our parents, that's not something that they did. They actually saved their 2 cents. And they wait on their 2 cents, and they don't do anything else. They deprive themselves of everything, and they save on that goal. Where you and I come in, I commend that, right? I commend our parents for doing that.
Yes.
Because they know how to do that. That's great. Most Americans don't know how to do that.
No.
They don't even know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Most us Americans don't even know how to do that. But where I think they went wrong is I wished my dad knew more about the financial markets, explaining that to me, explaining to me that I needed to learn more about that, explaining to me how if I leave my dollar here, this drink will cost $3 today, and it'll cost me $5 3 years from now.
Right.
So if I'm saving my $2, my $2 is worth $2 today, but it's worth $1.50 because I can't buy the same thing with my $2 3 years from now.
Right.
So we don't understand that. Do you find that is that how your parents?
Yeah, my parents definitely good savers. I gotta say, they're penny pitching everything, and I'm just lucky enough and nerdy enough to like start learning everything about the finance world. And I started investing when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the biggest issues that people don't understand is that you're gonna learn about compound interest.
Right.
People gotta learn how powerful compound interest is.
Most immigrants, that's the main thing that they're missing in their whole intentional money management.
Right.
Their money management.
And people also gotta understand that building wealth and creating wealth is a long process.
Right.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Right.
It doesn't happen overnight. So I think people if anybody interested in finance, I will start digging into it or ask Sharon for advice.
Post your comments in the video. But do you find that with your learning about compound interest, learning about The power of compound interest is amazing. If you add what our parents taught us about saving and include, so this is where I'm different from other CPAs or other financial people. I have the background from what my parents taught me about saving and being responsible and things like that. And I have the intentional money management, knowing, understanding compounding interest, understanding the financial markets, understanding how all of that works, understanding how to. The part from school that teaches me is learning how to read a company's balance sheet and income statement.
Right.
So although the market has done a lot and it might take me a little while to recover, I will recover because I believe in the companies that I've invested in.
Right.
I believe in what they're building, what their assets are, what their earnings are. Their earnings might be slower because of whatever is happening in the fiscal market,
Right.
but it's still, if you're invested in good things and you believe in what you're investing in, it'll eventually go up.
Yes, I do.
So I think our combination is really good because we have the habits, right? So it's the mindset and the motivation from our parents that you need to save and you need to be successful.
Right.
But we also have the American mindset where there is financial markets, there's other ways to grow wealth, and the way that we are going to grow wealth is to have our money make money for us.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so not as one of one of the things that I think your generation, let's talk about your generation a little bit. You guys don't believe in deprivation. You don't deprive yourself of anything. You enjoy those Cabo San Lucas Mexican vacations.
I think, to be honest, I like nice things. I do like nice things, but I think I'm smart with my money.
Yeah.
I think everybody should have a budget sheet.
Mm-hmm.
You should know where every single dollar you spend at, and you should always put a percentage on the side, whether you're going to invest it, save it, put it in a money market, get 4%, 3.5% back, whatever you're going to do. But I'm also guilty. Like, I like nice things. I buy stupid stuff, but everybody,
We all have that in our journey. Buying nice shoes is not stupid stuff. I don't know what Sean buys, but I have a shoe problem. I'm working on it. So what do you buy? What is your problem?
I like to go to nice places. I think
travel,
nice restaurants, new bars.
So you're a foodie, huh?
I am. I'm a foodie and I like drinks. So whenever there's new bars opening, I'm probably there.
So that's your guilty pleasure.
That
is eating and drinking. So it's experiences. So one of the quotes that I saw, I think it was Anthony Bourdain. I don't know if you know. Anthony Bourdain was this world traveler, and he was a foodie, and he went to a lot of Asian countries because he loved like experiencing food there. And he said something is you cannot be saving to travel to vacation. You have to you have to invest in experiences.
Yes.
So it's not spending on travel, it's an investments in experiences. And I am a firm believer on that traveling is, and I did this with my children, I continue to do this myself, and I intend to do a lot more of it, is that's how you learn.
Yes.
From your experiences.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that you're saying. Have you ever been back to China?
Many times, yes.
Many times.
I used to go back every year to visit my family. I still have families there, so I haven't been back because it's super expensive.
Yeah.
It costs thousands of dollars. And
how long is the flight?
I'm in there about like 24 hours, one-way trip.
One-way trip.
So
yeah.
It is a hustle to go back.
Right.
But whenever I have a chance to go back, I will go back.
You'll go back. So what do you think? So since you have so much experience with how it works in China, what do you think is the difference in terms of China and America and the products that we make and the issues that we're always having? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that in America, there's more opportunity. There's more way to make money, and there's less competition.
There's less competition in America.
Yes, I think there's 1.4 billion Chinese people.
Right. Yes.
Versus 350 million Americans.
Right.
There's more opportunity to make money, and especially the way social media is going and the AI is coming out. I think it's definitely. I don't want to say anything, but I think.
Speak your mind.
I think if I had to pick one or the other, I'll pick America just because you have more access to everything else.
Right. So maybe it's the access. China does have a bustling economy. I mean, I think it's has some issues, but because of communism in China, you do not have access to all the stuff that you have in America. But what are your thoughts on? Yes, I think this is still the greatest country in the world. I think that the opportunities that you have in America, you still cannot have in other places. One of the main things about America is we have a middle class. So your parents and my parents were able to come from being immigrants with I don't know how much dollars in their pocket and build themselves to middle class. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yes.
So, but in terms of what do you think about like the technology in China versus the technology in America?
I gotta be honest. I think the technology in China is way more advanced. Every time I go back, like I saw a video the other day, the guy just scanned his hand and he paid for a bottle of water. We don't see that in America.
Why do you think that that's something that we don't see here?
I don't know. I gotta dig more
We're
into it.
supposed to have smart people
I
here.
know.
So how come China is beating us there?
Maybe there are more people. That's the reason
You
why.
think it's more people? I don't know. I think it might have to do with the education part of it.
Yeah.
I'd have to say they're harboring all smarter people.
Yes.
Maybe. They do focus more on certain things. I personally think in other countries where we're falling back is on education. Yes, we do well, but we're focused on we're not focused on the needs of our population. We're not focused on what does the American population needs are. What is the future of our country? What is the future of our population? What do we need? But in China and in India and in British countries, like for example, Guyana was a British colony. In Guyana, when they go to school, even after, as soon as they get to high school, they ask them, they kind of see what they're good at. And I don't know if that's how you went to school until you were 13 in China, so you can answer this for me. They focus on so if they're good with sciences and math, or they're good with arts, or whatever they're good at, they focus them into those areas. And then they expose them to what it is that's available in those areas.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So when you were in China, what was it like that as opposed to what we do here in our education system?
I'm going to tell you a funny story.
Tell me.
When I came here, I didn't speak a word of English. I know, hi, how are you? What time is it? And where am I?
Where am I is a good one.
Where am I? And I got stuck in JFK for 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't speak a word of English.
13.
At 13, I came by myself. My mom's already here.
Wow.
I didn't have a cell phone. So they had to end up getting a Chinese cop to come translate everything. I went to school the first year. Again, I barely know any English.
Right.
Only class I'm good at was math.
Right.
I did not need to know any English, but I always get 100 on the test.
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest difference between the Chinese education system and American education system is that I think when the kids are younger, they're very focused on education versus here, let's sign up for a basketball class, let's sign up for a camp or soccer class, let's let the kids have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Asia, they're just like, okay, education.
We're not allowed to have fun.
No, there's no fun. I go to school 6.5 days a week. There's no fun.
So that was really, you went to school 6.5 days a week?
Yep. I was in an honor class. So you will take an exam before you go to middle school. Then you take another exam to see which class you're in. So I got a good score. I got in honor class. Then we'll go to school when it's pitch black outside until it's pitch black at night. Then we'll have extracurricular classes, math, English, and science, and biology and chemistry on the weekends, just so we can learn more. There's never enough learning. There's always something more to learn. And the parents are very supportive when it comes to this.
So that's very interesting. That's even more than I did. But I was 9 when I came here, so I don't remember a lot of that. He was 13. So when you were doing that, did they ever focus on what kind of career you wanted to do? Did you guys talk about that? What was it? They just want you to learn.
Just want you to learn everything you can.
That's all.
That's all.
So that's all you did. It was all learning all the time.
All the time, school, no fun, just exams after quiz, new books here and there. You got to read this, you got to read that. That's just how it was.
So what I like about that, so what I think, right, is I don't necessarily like that, because that doesn't sound like that sounds like we'd be miserable, right? But I also don't like that we are not focused enough to know what we like. So what I think is missing is that we move from one end to the other too quickly. Like, that's so far one side, and then this side is so far the other side.
Yeah.
So I think that exploring what we're good at is important, right? So in our education system, understanding what the needs are from our government. For example, I think in my profession, we have a big problem. Our problem is we're not letting these kids know all the different parts of accounting and finance that they could do. You don't have to be really great in math to be an accountant. And there's different levels of math. There's arithmetic, there's geometry, there's trigonometry, there's algebra, there is calculus. I've just named 5 different math. And if you go from one end to the other, they're completely different.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
You know that because you're a good math student.
Yes, I was.
So you don't need to know calculus to be an accountant. You don't need to, if you're not going to be doing financial analytics, you don't need to know derivatives and trigonometry to do finance.
Right.
Yes, you need to understand the yield curve and things like that, but you don't need to be embedded in all of that. So sometimes a lot of American kids are not good in math, so they sway away from, accounting or finance or engineering. That's why we import our people from. We don't have enough STEM math students.
Right.
So my point is that I feel like if we did that, suppose they came up to you and did analysis in our American school at Wellington High School, and they said, okay, you're so good in math, why don't you think about doing engineering, finance, or accounting? Would that have been something that you would have explored if you were in high school?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely would spark interest in me.
Right. So so that's what I think. That's what I think is missing. My opinion, and I want to hear your opinion on this, is that exposure. We don't expose our American kids and our American education system to what it is in the world that there's a need for, and helping them to understand if it's something that they would like, number one, or if that's something that they're good at.
Yes.
And since you're the closest to have graduated high school, I want to know what your opinion is. If you had to go back, if that was done for you, what are your thoughts on that?
I definitely agree with you. I think they should educate the kids more about career rather than just say, hey, get good grades. This is the college you're going to go to. I think they should teach kids about different side of different industry, have a better understanding of different industry, so they have a better idea when they go to college rather than, oh, I'm just going to apply to this major. If that doesn't work out, I switch my major. And I think whatever you said, it was totally like 100% agree with it.
So did you see that with your friends? Were they wavering because they weren't really sure what they wanted to major in?
Oh, absolutely. I had many friends switch their major many times throughout the 4 years in college.
And what was the reasoning for switching majors? Like,
they just didn't know what they wanted to do, and they took the classes. They didn't like it because they didn't know where the major is going to lead them after they graduate into the career. So they just switch their major and try something else.
So how did the school help you guys with that? Like when you were looking for a major, did they have like seminars or any type of workshops that will help you understand what it is that, were there any type of evaluations?
Yeah, we're lucky enough. We went to a big university. There's always workshops. There's always expos. So there are people who educate kids on different type of jobs, different type of career. What does this job do? What are responsibilities? So I think that we just got lucky that we'll have access to all that. And as the college career goes on, we'll learn more and more as more events we went to. So I think that if we can approach that to kids earlier on, I think kids will have a better understand what they want to do with their life
before they even get there.
Right. So
yeah. So if you were to say something to our education system, is it fair to say that that's what you would say?
Yeah, I think we should teach kids about all this stuff, maybe in high school.
Yeah.
To have to teach them the better understanding of how everything is and what does this job do, what does that job do, to help them decide and make a better decision on what they're going to do in college and what major they're going to pick and what career they're going to pursue.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So you see, you're hearing it from an actual student that went through the process, that we need to concentrate more on. And then I think for me, I think we should gear, like I was talking about this and I speak about it several times, is the issue with our job mismatch, right?
Yes.
So one of the reasons that our economy, one of the reasons that our unemployment rate is still low, and it's since COVID, it's been low. Like everybody's like, we're going to go through a recession. We're going to go through a recession.
Right.
We didn't really go through a recession because our unemployment is still very low. And one of the reasons is because we don't have enough people to fill the jobs that we're having. And one of that reasoning is that one of the largest generation in our population, which is the baby boomers, they're retiring.
Yes.
And they had most of the jobs, but we don't have enough people to fill those jobs necessarily. So one of the issue is that we have more jobs than people to fill it. But the bigger issue in the American culture, American society, American population, and you guys can look this up if you don't believe me, is the job mismatch. It's career mismatch, which means although we have 100 jobs for every 90 people down here in South Florida, and it varies in different areas of the country, only 40 of those 90s are qualified for the 100 jobs that we have. So the jobs that we have are not going to change much. These are going to be the needs of our society. This is what the society needs. This many accountants, this many people, that the excavators that dig pools. These are what our society's needs are. That's gonna change with the technology and all the different things, but it's pretty much what it is. So we need to predict as an education system what the needs of our society is and educate our kids. Okay, this is what the society is going to need. These are all the careers. This is the marketable careers that you can pick.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that that's the parts that's missing in our society, is that if we had told you guys, okay, these are the 100 jobs that is going to be needed, and you guys now have an idea, and then you can look at it and say, okay, I think I might like this, or I think I might like that, or I want to find out more about this.
Yes. I think if I would have knew better, I probably would have pursued finance. I got to be honest.
Right.
But because we didn't have the access
Right.
in high school and I didn't know better in college,
you weren't exposed to it, so you didn't understand what it was all about. You didn't
absolutely not.
I mean, there's 20 different financial fields that you can go into now, including accounting. So it's not like when I went to college, you just do 2 degrees, accounting or finance.
Yes.
And today, you learn more about what type of finance there is. You learn there's 20 different ways that you could be an accountant. You can be an auditor. You can be a tax accountant. You can be a financial planner. You can be the investigating accounting, where you're investigating things. That there's like so many different avenues. I am not an auditor, right? I
Yeah.
don't know anything about audit. All I know is about what I learned in school.
Right.
So learning that there are these different careers. I hate auditing, but there are people that love auditing. So if you're going into accounting and you think, okay, I don't like math, auditing might be the place for you to be because
Right.
it's more policies and procedures, you know?
Absolutely.
So that's the thing I don't think that we're doing enough of. That's the thing that we're missing to help our economy, help our population and understand. And I think the wide range of job between what the needs are and what we produce is going to keep widening if we don't address that issue.
Yes.
So
I
Sean,
agree.
how are you going to help me address that issue?
I will recommend anybody that I know who doesn't have a finance background, say, go to Sharon. She knows a lot. And you can, teach them a thing or two.
We will teach you guys a thing or two. So today, Sean and I have talked a lot about careers. We've talked about college. Is there something that you would want to tell me that I don't know about you? Or that you would want our audience to know more about? Or is there a question that you want to ask me that you always wanted to ask?
I think one of the biggest things people are going to learn in terms of personal finance is delayed gratification.
Delayed gratification. Sean has been watching me on YouTube, I think.
I think that's one of the biggest things. Again, like I said, wealth is not built overnight.
Right.
If you don't know anything about money, money's not going to come to you. You're going to learn how money works. You're going to learn how to invest. You're going to learn what to invest. And if you don't know anything, again, hit up Sharon. She will help you out with anything you need.
I didn't pay him to say any of that, okay? And there's information out there, right? So one of the things that I pride myself is being qualified to be able to give you guys this experience. In addition to my immigrant background, which both Sean and I have, and we've talked about that a lot. I don't think I've talked about it enough, but it's one of the things that builds you. Your background is one of the things that builds you. So in addition to our immigrant background, which teaches us how to save and be responsible, but we as Americans, we want to enjoy our money because in the end, why are you making money? You're making money for you to enjoy and have. You're making money for you to the happiness factor comes into it. So we don't want to be like our parents and be tied to that dollar.
Yes.
We want to enjoy the dollar. We want to be able to. So it's not. We don't want to be deprived like our parents, but yet the instant gratification is going to make us broke.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I always talk about is the difference between the two, the instant gratification and the deprivation. And I always say that that's like binge diets on both sides, right? They're not sustainable. You're not going to be able to sustain. You and I are not going to be able to sustain the deprivation that our parents are used to sustaining because we see all the fun stuff we could do.
Yes, absolutely.
So we want to enjoy some of it,
yes,
including traveling, which I have learned, the education that me and my kids have had, visiting and traveling and seeing things. You can't find it in books. So I am a firm believer in that. But I am also a firm believer in prioritizing. If I want to travel or I want to do certain things, I have to prioritize that on where my vacation fund,
Right.
and I can't do everything all at once. You can only have one number one, so you have to prioritize all those things. So the difference is our moderation, which we are living that life. We're living our moderate life. We're enjoying some of our money. We're saving some of our money. We're investing what we save. We're building a dollar upon a dollar, and we're living our American dream. Would
Absolutely.
you say?
Absolutely.
Well, I am thanking you for coming and talking to me today. Learning your background is really interesting because we get the college American fraternity boy. We also get the Chinese American immigrant boy. We have all of it. We're going to bring him back because we're going to find out where he goes with his financial career pursuits because I think he's going to do well in that.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me today.
No worries, Sean. Thank you for coming on.
It's a pleasure.